If the path before you is clear, you're probably on someone else's. Resentment is like drinking poison and then hoping it will kill your enemies. There is a wisdom of the head and a wisdom of the heart. The virtue of justice consists in moderation as regulated by wisdom. Wisdom is oftentimes nearer when we stoop than when we soar. A busy man is seldom visited by idle friends. No flies fly to a boiling pot. If you want to get rich, think of saving as earning. Music is a higher revelation than all wisdom and philosophy. The wisdom of the wise is an uncommon degree of common sense. Experience is the only prophecy of wise men. Circumstances make man, not man's circumstances. Before I can live with other folks, I've got to live with myself. The one thing that doesn't abide by majority rule is a person's conscience. We make all sorts of assumptions because we don't have the courage to ask questions. Wisdom is not wisdom when it is derived from books alone. To win without risk is to triumph without glory. The art of being wise is the art of knowing what to overlook. Wisdom is the right use of knowledge. To know is not to be wise. Many men know a great deal and are all the greater fools for it. There is no fool so great a fool as a knowing fool. But to know how to use knowledge is to have wisdom. As a child, I prayed to God for a bicycle. Then I realized that God works differently. I stole my bike and prayed for forgiveness. Wisdom is not a product of schooling, but of the lifelong attempt to acquire it. Those who have a why to live can bear with almost anyhow. Thousands of candles can be lit from a single candle, and its life will not get any shorter. Happiness doesn't diminish when you share it. What we know is a drop. What we don't know is an ocean. In every walk with nature, one receives far more than he seeks. That which does not kill us makes us stronger. Fear doesn't exist anywhere except in the mind. People never lie so much as before an election, during a war, or after a hunt. Common sense in an uncommon degree is what the world calls wisdom. Who is wise in love? Love most, say least. It is astonishing with how little wisdom mankind can be governed when that little wisdom is its own. If you can't explain it to a 6-year-old, you don't understand it yourself. Silence is true wisdom's best reply. Give me a lever long enough and a fulcrum on which to place it, and I shall move the world. There are 1,000 lessons in defeat, but only one in victory. Knowledge comes, but wisdom lingers. Better be wise by the misfortunes of others than by your own. A fool thinks himself to be wise, but a wise man knows himself to be a fool. Learn the wisdom of compromise, for it is better to bend a little than to break. A man begins cutting his wisdom teeth the first time he bites off more than he can chew. Don't judge your greatness by your shadow at sunset. Not by age, but by capacity is wisdom acquired. Kindness is more important than wisdom, and the recognition of this is the beginning of wisdom. We gain the strength of the temptation we resist. Everyone falls down. Getting back up is how you learn how to walk. A closed mouth catches no flies. Never mistake knowledge for wisdom. One helps you make a living, the other helps you make a life. In seeking wisdom, thou art wise. In imagining that thou hast attained it, thou art a fool. A poem begins in delight and ends in wisdom. Wisdom, we know, is the knowledge of good and evil, not the strength to choose between the two. Tragedy is a tool for the living to gain wisdom, not a guide by which to live. It is the province of knowledge to speak, and it is the privilege of wisdom to listen. The higher we are placed, the more humbly we should walk. A bad friend is like a shadow on a sunny day. Run, you won't run away on a cloudy day. Look for it, you won't find it. Procrastination is the thief of time. Collar him. It is not the man who has too little, but the man who craves more that is poor. It is not wisdom but authority that makes a law. Every man is a damn fool for at least 5 minutes every day. Wisdom consists in not exceeding the limit. We are made wise, not by the recollection of our past, but by the responsibility for our future. The motto of chivalry is also the motto of wisdom, to serve all, but love only one. What wisdom can you find that is greater than kindness? The saddest aspect of life right now is that science gathers knowledge faster than society gathers wisdom. way of a fool is right in his own eyes, but he that hearkeneth unto counsel is wise. The wisdom of the wise and the experience of ages may be preserved by quotation. When anger rises, think of the consequences. A man must be big enough to admit his mistakes, smart enough to profit from them, and strong enough to correct them. A goal is a dream with a deadline. Wisdom is keeping a sense of fallibility of all our views and opinions. You can't wait for inspiration. You have to go after it with a club. There is more wisdom in your body than in your deepest philosophy. Wisdom denotes the pursuing of the best ends by the best means. The most certain sign of wisdom is cheerfulness. Decision-making, like coffee, needs a cooling process. They whom truth and wisdom lead can gather honey from a weed. He who lives in harmony with himself lives in harmony with the universe. In youth and beauty, wisdom is but rare. Great results can be achieved with small forces. It is the nature of the wise to resist pleasures, but the foolish to be a slave to them. Perfection is achieved, not when there is nothing more to add, but when there is nothing left to take away. Keep me away from the wisdom which does not cry, the philosophy which does not laugh, and the greatness which does not bow before children. Love your neighbor as yourself. Wisdom begins at the end. Wisdom is the quality that keeps you from getting into situations where you need it. To profit from good advice requires more wisdom than to give it. It is a characteristic of wisdom not to do desperate things. A friendship founded on business is better than a business founded on friendship. Science is organized knowledge. Wisdom is organized life. The man who asks a question is a fool for a minute. The man who does not ask is a fool for life. Whatever advice you give, be brief. It is better to be hated for what you are than to be loved for what you are not. Turn your wounds into wisdom. The doorstep to the temple of wisdom is a knowledge of our own ignorance. The misfortune of the wise is better than the prosperity of the fool. It is the neglect of timely repair that makes rebuilding necessary. Ignorance is the root and stem of every evil. Wisdom, compassion, and courage are the three universally recognized moral qualities of men. It is best for the wise man not to seem wise. It is wisdom in prosperity, when all is as thou wouldn't have it, to fear and suspect the worst. To get married means to have your rights and double your responsibilities. Don't judge each day by the harvest you reap, but by the seeds that you plant. We never understand how little we need in this world until we know the loss of it. Love is the wisdom of the fool and the folly of the wise. He who is not satisfied with the little is satisfied with nothing. The fear of the Lord is the beginning of wisdom, and the knowledge of the Holy One is insight. The journey of 1,000 miles begins with a single step. Wisdom is knowing what to do next. Virtue is doing it. Better a broken promise than none at all. No man was ever wise by chance. The fear of the Lord is the beginning of knowledge. Fools despise wisdom and instruction. Beware of little expenses. A small leak will sink a great ship. Counsel woven into the fabric of real life is wisdom. A wise man makes his own decisions. An ignorant man follows the public opinion. Leave nothing for tomorrow, which can be done today. Faith keeps our ships moving, while empathy and the memories of our experiences lead to wisdom. Preconceived notions are the locks on the door to wisdom. The life of the dead is set in the memory of the living. All human wisdom is summed up in 2 words: wait and hope. The simple things are also the most extraordinary things, and only the wise can see them. Luck is what happens when preparation meets opportunity. Write your sad times in the sand. Write your good times in stone. People are great at keeping secrets they don't know. Be careful who you call your friends. Rather have full quarters than 100 pennies. Few of the many wise apophthegms which have been uttered have prevented a single foolish action. Irony is the gaiety of reflection and the joy of wisdom. Sometimes it's not enough to know what things mean. Sometimes you have to know what things don't mean. On every thorn, delightful wisdom grows. In every rill, a sweet instruction flows. Wise sayings often fall on barren ground, but a kind word is never thrown away. A smart man only believes half of what he hears. A wise man knows which half. Man's wisdom is his best friend, folly his worst enemy. Wisdom is always an overmatch for strength. How many things would you attempt if you knew you could not fail? A leader is a dealer in hope. The seat of knowledge is in the head, of wisdom in the heart. Never interrupt your enemy when he is making a mistake. Many have been the wise speeches of fools, though not so many as the foolish speeches of wise men. Whatever we plant in our subconscious mind and nourish with repetition and emotion will one day become a reality. Life can only be understood backwards, but it must be lived forwards. Simplicity is the result of maturity. Both optimists and pessimists contribute to society. The optimist invents the airplane, the pessimist the parachute. Spend your money on the things money can buy. Spend your time on the things money can't buy. It requires wisdom to understand wisdom. The music is nothing if the audience is deaf. It all begins and ends in your mind. What you give power to has power over you if you allow it. The truest wisdom is a resolute determination. When you betray somebody else, you also betray yourself. Knowledge is a process of piling up facts. Wisdom lies in their simplification. Think like a wise man, but communicate in the language of the people. The past is behind. Learn from it. The future is ahead. Prepare for it. The present is here. Live it. Almost every wise saying has an opposite one, no less wise, to balance it. A woman's guess is much more accurate than a man's certainty. Understanding a question is half an answer. Knowing others is wisdom. Knowing yourself is enlightenment. He is a wise man who does not grieve for the things which he has not, but rejoices for those which he has. All this worldly wisdom was once the unamiable heresy of some wise man. Wisdom too often never comes, and so one ought not to reject it merely because it comes late. Be silent, or let thy words be worth more than silence. To conquer fear is the beginning of wisdom. We are not rich by what we possess, but by what we can do without. A friend to all is a friend to none. You will not be punished for your anger. You will be punished by your anger. A wise man may look ridiculous in the company of fools. A fool flatters himself. A wise man flatters the fool. We are masters of the unsaid words, but slaves of those we let slip out. Follow your instincts. That's where true wisdom manifests itself. It's easier to resist at the beginning than at the end. To acquire knowledge, one must study, but to acquire wisdom, one must observe. Ignorant men raise questions that wise men answered 1,000 years ago. Everything that irritates us about others can lead us to an understanding of ourselves. He dares to be a fool, and that is the first step in the direction of wisdom. A wise man proportions his belief to the evidence. He who laughs at himself never runs out of things to laugh at. Life isn't about finding yourself. Life is about creating yourself. Never ruin an apology with an excuse. Wise men make more opportunities than they find. It is the mark of an educated mind to be able to entertain a thought without accepting it. We don't receive wisdom. We must discover it for ourselves after a journey that no one can take for us or spare us. The superior man blames himself. The inferior man blames others. Where there is charity and wisdom, there is neither fear nor ignorance. By the mouth of a fool comes a rod for his back, but the lips of the wise will preserve them. Wisdom doesn't necessarily come with age. Sometimes, age just shows up all by itself. By 3 methods, we may learn wisdom. First, by reflection, which is noblest. Second, by imitation, which is easiest. And third, by experience, which is the bitterest. The only true wisdom is in knowing you know nothing. Everything is within your power, and your power is within you. The fool wonders, the wise man asks. The young man knows the rules, but the old man knows the exceptions. A little knowledge that acts is worth infinitely more than much knowledge that is idle. There are 2 wolves fighting inside all of us. The first one is evil. The second one is good. Which wolf will win? The one you feed. Is there anyone so wise as to learn by the experience of others? It always seems impossible until it's done. Life is not a matter of holding good cards, but of playing a poor hand well. There is a difference between happiness and wisdom. He that thinks himself the happiest man is really so. But he that thinks himself the wisest is generally the greatest fool. Wisdom is the power to put our time and our knowledge to the proper use. The best way to obtain truth and wisdom is not to ask from books, but to go to God in prayer and obtain divine teaching. The invariable mark of wisdom is to see the miraculous in the common. Wisdom is having things right in your life and knowing why. The road of excess leads to the palace of wisdom. The wise man does at once what the fool does finally. Knowledge is proud that it knows so much. Wisdom is humble that it knows no more. Travel makes a wise man better and a fool worse. Silence is the sleep that nourishes wisdom. Yesterday, I was clever, so I wanted to change the world. Today, I am wise, so I am changing myself. All human wisdom works and has worries and grief as reward. The greater our knowledge increases, the more our ignorance unfolds. Pain makes man think. Thought makes man wise. Wisdom makes life endurable. Whatever is begun in anger ends in shame. It's not the load that weighs you down, it's how you carry it. Wise kings generally have wise counselors, and he must be a wise man himself who is capable of distinguishing one. I'm always doing things I can't do. That's how I get to do them. A long habit of not thinking a thing wrong gives it a superficial appearance of being right. Wisdom is nothing but a preparation of the soul, a capacity, a secret art of thinking, feeling, and breathing thoughts of unity at every moment of life. It's not what you look at that matters, it's what you see. Education is what remains after one has forgotten what one has learned in school. Some wisdom you must learn from one who's wise. If suffering brings wisdom, I would wish to be less wise. Never interrupt your enemy when he is making a mistake. Wisdom consists of the anticipation of consequences. A wise man is superior to any insults which can be put upon him, and the best reply to unseemly behavior is patience and moderation. No man was ever wise by chance. Honesty is the first chapter in the book of wisdom. Never does nature say one thing and wisdom another. Wisdom is the reward you get for a lifetime of listening when you'd have preferred to talk. Words of wisdom are spoken by children at least as often as scientists. When a man's penis is hard, a woman's vagina is happier. Our wisdom comes from our experience, and our experience comes from our foolishness. The roots of education are bitter, but the fruit is sweet. He who devotes 16 hours a day to hard study may become at 60 as wise as he thought himself at 20. Be the change that you wish to see in the world. Don't gain the world and lose your soul. Wisdom is better than silver or gold. What happens is not as important as how you react to what happens. The next best thing to being wise oneself is to live in a circle of those who are. Do not say a little in many words, but a great deal in few. Knowledge is marvelous, but wisdom is even better. A wise man can learn more from a foolish question than a fool can learn from a wise answer. Only a fool learns from his own mistakes. The wise man learns from the mistakes of others. It is costly wisdom that is bought by experience. The less you talk, the more you're listened to. A day of worry is more exhausting than a week of work. The only real mistake is the one from which we learn nothing. There is only a finger's difference between a wise man and a fool.